what somebody's going to do in the future has already been told in the past. I have had to work with people from many different spectrums. Right now as mayor, I don't have a vote and I'm still effective because I know how to bring great ideas together and put them together. Again, the things that I focus on is, especially in Saratoga Springs also, and what I will be taking with me to Washington, is being able to limit government, because I believe the things that we do best, just stepping out of the way is what the things I've been able to do. And that's actually helped Saratoga Springs grow. The other thing is making sure that our property tax pays for nothing but public safety. Everything else.
Candidates, if you could rotate, please, to the next highest letter in the alphabet.
That's where I am.
Please rotate
that's
at
what
this
I do.
time.
Those are the policies I bring with me. Please go to loveforutah.com, LOVE4, Utah.com. Do you have my brochure? Any of my information? You do. And I will make sure someone gets one to you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Kevin?
How are you?
Nice to see you. Nice
Good
haircut.
to see you too. Thanks. Good luck.
Man, we got to work on Kevin.
We got to work on Kevin. We got to Kevin. By the time you're done with this, we've got to pull you over, Kevin.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm Jacob.
Hi, Matthew Lampros.
Matthew. What was your last name?
Lampros.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Oh, you did? Oh, good. Some things about me.
I'm sorry, I won't take the notes.
Oh, no problem. The 7 minutes go like really, really fast.
Yeah.
So what I thought I'd do is quickly just answer 2 questions and then hopefully get your questions. Interrupt me if you have questions. The 2 questions I want to answer for you are, why am I running and what sets me apart? The first question, why am I running? I think like most candidates here tonight, we all recognize there's big problems we have in our country, real serious challenges. We have a federal government that overreaches, and we have a deficit that's out of control, a debt that's too high, and we have an economy that needs, that could be doing a lot better. And when I saw these problems, I got frustrated because we know the answers. We know what we need to do. And that's why I say on my sheet, the vision's clear. We know that we need to cut, right? We need to cut our spending. We need to cut programs. We know what we need to get to restore to a constitutional government. And so for me, it was all about who can deliver results. And I jumped in this race because I looked at myself, I looked at the other candidates, and I have something to offer. I have something that's different, that's unique, that will make me effective in Washington, D.C. And so that's where I focused my campaign on, because to me, if you don't get results, you're not doing your job, right? And everyone's going to talk. Everyone's going to talk the good talk. They're going to say the vision, what we need to do, and it's true. We know what we do. The question is who can deliver. So the 4 things that I highlight that set me apart. One is I'm the only candidate, and I'm running for the 4th district, by the way. I don't know if you guys are in the 4th district, or are you the 4th district?
I think we're both on it.
Both are. Okay, great. I've actually worked in D.C. I was actually legislative counsel back there in the Senate for a while, and so I've been in the trenches, and I know what it's like to actually legislate, or to actually negotiate bills with the opposing side and with people who have different opinions. In fact, I know what it takes to be effective, and that's one thing that gives me great optimism. I know that this gridlock back in D.C. can be broken, and we can get things done if we have the right people back there. 2, my education and work experience. I studied economics at BYU. Graduated there. I have a law degree from George Washington University. I practiced law for a while, and then actually came back to BYU about 7 years after I was practicing and had an MBA. So I have an interesting perspective when it comes to education, both the economics, the law, and the business. I've worked in the private sector, both in a small entrepreneurial company as well as a publicly traded company. In fact, I was the regulatory attorney for both, and I tell everyone they shouldn't have had to hire me because those companies didn't need. There's too much regulation. They should have had to hire me, and that's one of the things I write on is we have too much regulation. 3rd, quickly, I'm not a politician. I think every other candidate in this race holds elective office or just recently resigned from elected office. And to me that's worrisome because I see them trying to move up. For me, I'm there to solve problems. I think I have an expertise and a skill set to do that. But when those problems are solved, I'm done. I think that's, I realize what I'm good at and what I'm not good at, and that's why I'm going back to DC. And then 4th, my approach. I believe you have to be at the table, you have to be working hard, you have to be working smart. My motto is fight harder, fight smarter. I believe there is common ground to be had back there. I think it's going to be economic, to be honest with you. I think that's where the common ground is with the Democrats. I think the Democrats are coming to a point where they can't deny that we're bankrupt. We have to cut things. And I think you can work with people back there. You don't have to compromise. I don't think you ever compromise your principles, your end goals. But that's the approach I'm taking. I worry about polarization because I think that adds to gridlock. I don't think you have to be weak or be a shrinking violet. You can be strong, but you also have to be able to not be a jerk about it and actually work with people. So that's the approach I'm taking. So, you know, in 2 minutes, that's my my quick stump speech. But I do want to get your questions. Like I said, I think that's actually the most valuable thing is when you ask me questions, you see how I respond, because then you'll know how I think. And you know, you'll hear a lot from other candidates about what they'll do, but there'll be issues that come up that we haven't even thought about. But if you know how a person thinks, and if you know how they approach it, it's a good predictor of how they'll behave. And so rather than saying, you know, here's the answer, I want you to hear my thinking process and how I approach things. So, fire away.
1 minute till rotation. 1 minute.
It's really fast. Sorry. Yeah.
When does limited government become too limited?
Well, I think two things on that. We certainly know the federal government has to do certain things, you know, from national defense to the census to things like that. When we talk about limiting the government, what I like to talk about is a lot of the policies. Take the Department of Education, for example. You know, they do a lot of statistics and collect stats. You know, some of those functions, I'm not saying should go away. I think they should be done at the state level, right? And so a lot of the times we hear about limited government, and people think, oh no, all these things are going to go away. But I think that feeds actually into the Democrats' argument. No,
candidates, if you could please rotate, please rotate.
When you know, our national defense compromised, and was that time to switch already?
Yeah.
So let's just wait. There's a long way to go before we get there. I think there's a lot of things we can cut, especially when we talk about you know, the main drivers of our deficit. You know, I think we have to tackle entitlements. We have to tackle discretionary spending. So, I apologize for taking so much time, but that goes quick. That goes really quick. So, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks. Man, that is fast.
Yeah, good luck.
That was really fast.
Yeah.
You seem like it was planned to be shorter.
Yeah, it does. 15 minutes, then 10 minutes, and then 7 minutes.
It's the break rooms. There's nobody down there.
There's 2 people from the amount.
Okay, so Clay and Beaver, I mean, seriously, we have got some good things on. So I will touch base with you every time. I'm going to try to work with you.
Some less prosperous nation than the one we inherited. And that is not okay with me. That is not okay. The American dream is slipping through the hands of everyday American citizens. And it's not because of decisions you've made. It's because of decisions that have been made by bureaucrats thousands of miles away from you. The American dream is slipping through your fingers and slipping through the fingers of our children. For the last 5 years, I've been in the legislature, and it's been a great time. Prior to that, I was about as apolitical as you could possibly get. I was not involved in politics. I voted every November, but I certainly would have never been caught dead in a place like this. I was a police officer, working as a SWAT team commander. I was a K-9 officer. I was a detective, a DARE officer. Went in and taught kids how to resist drugs and drug abuse. A series of events led me into running for politics. It was never in the life plan. But I'll tell you, it's been a good ride. I've been involved over the last 5 years in some of the most significant pieces of legislation that we've passed here in Utah. In fact, if you take the conservative fight in Utah, over the last 5 years, there's a good chance that I was involved in it. In the fight for the right to life, I've been the leader in this state. In the fight for the Second Amendment, I've been the leader in this state. In the fight to keep taxes and regulations low, I've been the leader. In the fight to push back against the federal government, I am co-founder, and you'll find a couple other people here today, of the Patrick Henry Caucus, which is an organization dedicated to pushing back against the federal government. Those are the ideals I believe in. You see, the reason I believe that is because I believe that all rights are inherent in you. The government doesn't give you rights or take rights away. That all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And governments are instituted among men to protect those rights. I believe that. I believe that James Madison said in Federalist 45 that the rights or the regulations and the role of the federal government is narrow and defined. The states are the ones that are supposed to be in control. We need to have a balanced government in this country. And that's why I'm running for Congress. I'm going back to Congress to pass a balanced budget amendment. It's my #1 priority, to pass a balanced budget amendment. That's why Senator Mike Lee has endorsed me in this race in the 4th Congressional District. I'm the only person that's running for federal office that he has endorsed, because I've been working with him to pass a balanced budget amendment. I want to go back and deregulate. Get government out of your life. Get government out of the lives of businesses and your families. Let you create jobs. Let you innovate. Let you be the lifeblood that generates a recovery to the economy. The economy is the #1 issue, and the government's doing nothing but hurting us. I want to tell you one thing that's very important. As delegates, your toughest job is to decide, is this candidate really telling the truth? Does this candidate really believe what he's saying, or is he what they call an election year conservative? Okay? Beware of the election year conservative. I want to show you this. I take this with me everywhere I go. This is my voting record. This is every vote I have ever made in the last 5 years in the state legislature. I carry it with me when I'm meeting people, because I want you to know I'm proud of my voting record. Inside this voting record is proof that I'm one of only 2 legislators in the entire state who has never voted to increase your taxes. I'm one of only 2 legislators, excuse me, a small handful of legislators who have voted against every dollar of Obama stimulus money. I'm one of only handful of legislators, 2 legislators on the tax increase, handful of legislators who continually repeals legislation every year instead of just putting more and piling more on top of you. I'm proud of my voting record. So when I tell you that I'm going back to Congress to deregulate, you can take it to the bank, because I've done it here. When I tell you that I'm going back to Washington, D.C. to cut taxes, not raise taxes, you can take it to the bank. When I tell you I'm going back to Washington, D.C. to pass a balanced budget amendment, you can absolutely bet that I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. Those are the things that are important to me. Returning power to you, returning power to the states, balancing our budget, stimulating our economy by deregulation. And when I tell you that's what I'm going to do, you can bank on it, because it's what I've done in the legislature. So I have 2 minutes. I don't know.
Yeah.
Any questions I can answer for you?
I have a question. I'm not even in your district, but
Please.
I supported Morgan Philpott and numerous people against Matheson. Isn't he running against you?
He is.
And so how are you going to combat his warhorse chest?
Let me be.
No,
Right,
but
no.
if
Morgan ran against
Candidates,
Matheson
1
last
minute's
time,
rotation.
I've supported
I'll be
all
very
these
quick.
people.
I
Yeah.
have 1 minute.
Okay.
Morgan ran a wonderful campaign. The problem is that Morgan was never able to raise enough money. Morgan, the entire election, was able to raise about $300,000. I'm the only candidate on the Republican side who has shown an ability to raise money. I've already raised $250,000. It's not mine, trust me. I have law enforcement. I have over 600 individual citizen donors. We have the support. We have the ground game. We have the network. I have the same campaign consultant and the same campaign manager that Senator Mike Lee had when he defeated Tim Bridgewater and Bob Bennett. I have the network needed to win. But there's one thing missing, and that's you. I need your help. Whether you live in my district or not, I need it.
Candidates, please rotate.
So
Time for
I'm going to
rotation,
contact you over the next little while. Please come to my table. Come say hi, ask any questions you might have. We'll be in contact with you over email. If you left me your email, it'd be great.